Now, my next guest found fame singing alongside her sisters in the UK's first ever girl band, the Nolans. Now, Anne Nolan is lifting the lid on everything from overcoming cancer to healing family feuds in her new book, New Beginnings. And she joins us this morning. It's so lovely to see you, Anne.
Lovely to meet you.
New Beginnings. And this was first released last May, actually, but you just keep wanting to add to it.
Well, yeah, I just wrote a new chapter because, in fact, I'm terrible at writing books. That was put away in a drawer for about 6 months, and then my manager said, "Why don't you finish it?" And I went, "Oh, okay then." I'm very lazy. The last chapter was about because I lived with my aunt for 16 years and she passed away. And then I had to live. I've never lived on my own ever in my whole 73 years. I've always been with family or my husband, and then we got divorced, and then I lived with my auntie, and then she died. And so I wanted to write about her and about how she, her passing. And also, in that time, I did, this is really weird, I did a pop festival in Ireland, actually, in County Kildare. It was called Forever Young. And
this was the first pop-type festival ever, wasn't it?
Yeah, at 72 years of age. I'd never even done one with my sisters, really. So it was amazing. I mean, I was terrified because Tony Hadley from Spandau Ballet was on just before me, and I'm standing at the side thinking, oh my God, what am I doing, But it was amazing. I think the Irish public took pity on me because I'm from Ireland, obviously.
No, it's because you're a Nolan, for goodness sake. We grew up with this.
I mean, I was just me. There was no backing singers, no band. It was backing tapes I used, and it was just me on the stage on my own, and I thought, oh, I must be nuts. But anyway, it was
daunting
fabulous.
And incredibly brave, but like you say, one of the best moments.
It was fabulous, yeah, really good.
And this is what it's all about, and you're always willing to put yourself out there. I think that's it, Anne, and to try and enjoy as much of life as you possibly can. But I think going back to writing the book, because it's like a diary, really. It's like a personal diary, so you always feel like you're giving part of yourself away by then handing it over to us. Yeah,
the thing is, because when I wrote my first book as well, it was like I wanted to write it for future generations, for my grandchildren and their children. So they, if they ever asked about me, they could say, here's her book, the whole story's in there. So I wanted it to be a life story and not just like a show business story. Yeah. And so I had to put all the good, the bad and the ugly into it, really, and that's what I did. I told my whole life story as it happened. And I wrote it all myself by hand, so the words were all mine. It was nobody else doing it for me.
It's properly your voice throughout it, isn't it? And you say the good, the bad and the ugly, and you do talk about family rifts, which unfortunately we know about, and you mention all of that, and also wanting to build that back again. And it was sadly Bernie passing away, your sister, of course, that kind of was the catalyst to bring you all back together, wasn't it?
Well, I wrote a letter before Bernie passed. Actually, I wrote a letter to my sister saying that, for our extended families, for our children, can we heal this rift? It was, it was silly at the time. The whole thing was just silly, and I just thought, we learn from the past, we live for today, and we look forward to the future. So. Just let's, forget it. And we have, it's the only time in our whole lives that we'd ever fallen out. And personally, we had rows and, all of that, like sisters do. But we'd never actually fallen out and never spoken to each other. So that was the show business side that kind of broke us apart a little bit. For 3 years, it was a long time. And then eventually we just thought, it's not worth it. What happened wasn't worth it, really. And so we're just as close now as we ever have been.
That's
it's fabulous.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And how are you doing? And, sadly, we know about Bernie, and you've had your own cancer journey, and, of course, your sister Linda as well. I mean, how are you doing now?
I am so lucky. I had my first cancer in 2000. I had my chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and an operation. And after 6 months of chemo, I was fine, and then 20 years later, almost to the day, it came back again, and a different breast it was, two separate cancers. And again, I had the chemo and the radiotherapy and the operation, and I'm happy to say that I'm clear. I've got another year before I'm actually discharged, but I'm clear of cancer at the moment, thank goodness. And so I count myself really, really lucky.
No, of course, my goodness me, because it's really hit the family hard, hasn't it? As we know
I mean,
that.
I do. It has hit us hard, but then there are 8 children in our family, and 3 of us have had cancer. Whereas sometimes you see families with 3 children and they've all had cancer. So if you look at it like that, we're kind of lucky in a way as well that that only 3 of us have had it. I mean, I know it's terribly sad that Bernie passed away, obviously, and Linda's not very well at the moment, although she's fantastic. She's so she's so upbeat about it all. She has moments, she has duvet days that she says, you know, herself. But she's so, you know, she still goes out and does things with the family and gets out there and kind of doesn't let it get her down too much, you know. So she's amazing.
Support of all of you two, which is
it's
incredible.
good to have family around.
You're definitely, you know, talking about festivals and performing and everything else, but you're definitely happiest with your daughters and your grandchildren.
I am. Yeah.
That's when your heart is full.
I am. I go to my grandson's. My grandson plays. My eldest grandson plays football, and my granddaughter plays football. They're both really good, and I go and watch them every weekend. In fact, when they're not playing at the weekend, I think, oh gosh, what am I going to do? And my youngest grandson is just learning electric guitar.
So they've got the gene.
Yeah, I think
natural.
He's playing at the opening of the Blackpool Illuminations this year.
Oh, right.
There's about 17 bands where he goes to a place called Upbeat Academy, and all 17 bands are just going on playing one song. As one comes off, the next one comes on.
And have they full appreciation of you and the Nolans?
No.
And the fact that everyone still knows every single word of I'm in the mood for dancing?
I think they kind of know secretly. I think they are, but you know, if you say to them, they go, mm. It's really weird though, because when you speak to their friends and they say, my gran used to do this, and they go, have you heard of the Nolans? And they go, wow. Not really polite.
That's what the internet's for.
But then when you say, have you heard of a song called I'm in the Mood for Dancing? They all go, oh yeah, of course that.
They do.
The song's more famous than we are, really.
The song is brilliant and it's timeless, Anne. But like you say, it's such a lovely personal account of your life. And as you say, the ups and the downs and the incredible memories as well.
Amazing.
Of, you know, the girls and the sisters being out and traveling all over the world. You did everything.
Met people that we've never met otherwise, you know, like you.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm always here. Don't worry about that. And it's great to see you. Finally getting to meet you properly. New Beginnings, Anne's book is out now. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you so much.